Hi, Usha. Usha, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, are you able to hear me?
Yes. Yes. We are able to hear you. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Yeah. Just before you, we had Priyanka and Ritesh talk. So it's your time. I'll ask you to give a quick intro about yourself and what your talk is going to be about. Meanwhile, I'll share a screen on the stream.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my talk is about the cognitive services related to natural language processing in Azure. And about me, I'm a principal data scientist, and I'm also a Kaggle Grandmasters, India's first women Kaggle Grandmaster. And I have a slide particularly telling everything about me. So once my screen is added, I'll tell you more about me. So is my
Sure.
screen
I
added?
Yes. Your screen is there. Yeah.
So yes. So everything is so
Yeah.
my
You're live.
right. Left. All right. So today we're going to see all the cognitive services related to natural language processing. So this is we'll be quickly going through four services, so we may not be able to delve too deep into everything, but it'll give you a quick short overview. From this session, you can expect to know the major details of it, after which you'll have to go and explore it yourself so that you understand it much more deeply. And about me, I'm a Kaggle Grandmaster, and I also lead several communities, almost seven communities in both Bangalore and Mysore. Do follow me at Twitter at urengaraju, because for all the communities which I lead, I keep posting the event notification in my Twitter. And I'm also the organizer for TensorFlow user group, GDG Mysore. And I'm the ambassador for Women Tech Makers in Mysore, with Mysore. And I'm also the ambassador for AI Med. So you can I've shared the link. My link to the slides presentation is shared with you all. If you go there, you'll have the GitHub link where you'll also find Cloud Community Conference repository where all the notebooks which we are discussing right now, they'll be there. You can also download it, but I'm not sure if you will be able to execute along with me. If you're very fast, then you'll be able to do it. But don't worry, the resources are already there and the video is recorded. So after tonight, you can go watch the video and redo it once. And we organize a lot of events every week as a part of these seven communities. So even this weekend we have several events coming up. So if you want to if you're a data science enthusiast just starting up, and or if you're already a practitioner in NLP but you want to learn computer vision, or you're in computer vision you want to learn NLP, then you can go to these meetup links and check out the events which we are organizing. And let's get started with the topic right away. And so NLP is a branch of AI that deals with everything related to spoken language and written language. And we NLP in Microsoft Azure has four cognitive services, and we'll be looking at all the four cognitive services today. So let's start with text analytics service, which is our first cognitive service. So the use case for this cognitive service is, why do you use this cognitive service? if you have a lot of survey results, I think everyone these days are using some site or the other where you give your reviews, be it Zomato or Swiggy or any site, or movie reviews, IMDb. Everywhere you watch a movie or eat a food or whatever it is, order a particular service, you go and post reviews. So we at times there are 500 to 1,000 reviews. It's very time consuming to go and manually dig and see how many customers have given positive reviews and how many customers have given negative reviews. It's all a very time consuming process. So NLP has got a huge potential use case in analyzing survey results. Or if you're getting a lot of recorded inbound calls, there's a customer service center for a bank, so whatever bank you're using, every bank will have a customer service center, and all your calls will be, you'll get a notification. Your call will be recorded for future analysis purpose and all that before you just translate it to the customer service agent. So you have a lot of recorded inbound calls, and you want to analyze it quickly, analyze it. It's very, I mean, it's really not possible to sit and listen to every call and then tag it positive, negative. It's going to be very, very time consuming. And and if you have a social media feeds, if you're having a project or a website or something, and you have a social media feeds, and you want to quickly get snapshot of, you have a product release, and you want to know how many people have reacted positively to your product and how many people have reacted negatively to your product, you want to quickly get a snapshot of all this, then NLP is a great way to go. And Azure makes it simple by giving you four cognitive services, using which you don't have to write much line of code, using which you can get a lot of things done, even if you are not a strong programmer, or if you are not, you don't have to worry. There's not much of a programming involved. And so you can quickly get a lot of things done using these four cognitive services. Let's see what those cognitive services are one by one. Let's get started with the first cognitive service, which is your text analytics service. And using this text analytics service, you can get these four things done. First, you give a piece of reviews, or you give a piece of social media feed or whatever it is, and you want to detect which language the text is in. So is it English, or is it Chinese, or is it a different local language? You want to first detect the language. And you are reading a huge piece of reviews, and you don't have time to identify the important phrases, and want a particular you want to quickly extract the key phrases. And 1 minute. Hello. And you have to detect the language, and you want to also know the key phrases, and then you want to determine the sentiment, and then and you want to extract known entities. Like, you have a huge piece of text, you want to quickly detect known entities, like you want to detect all the time elements, you want to detect all the location elements. And these are four things which you can achieve using text analytics service. So before you get started with your text analytics service, you have to create something called cognitive resource. And cognitive resource is something, you have to go to portal.azure.com, and then you can give all these fields. Like, you have to give your name, you have to give your subscription, location, pricing tier, resource group. These are all user defined fields. Once you give these fields, you will be able to create a cognitive resource. And so I'll just show you how it is done.
Usha, are you
So you can
speaking?
go. Oh yeah, are you not able to hear me?
Yeah, in between we lost you.
Okay, so yeah, so I'm going to portal.azure.com. Just give me a minute. I'll be right back. So yes, you will have to go to portal.azure.com and you have to click on create a resource. And once you create, what kind of resource you can click on? Can click on machine learning. So you have to give your subscription. This resource is very important. If you want to do anything with your cognitive services, you will have to give your resource, which is as your sponsorship or free trial. And you will have to give the resource group. So you'll have to create a new resource group, give any user defined name, and then you will have to give your workspace name, and you'll have to give your region and workspace edition. And so this is how you create a machine learning resource. So go and create, the first step is to create a cognitive resource. So the features for the cognitive service will be the name, the subscription, location, pricing tier, and the resource group. These are all user defined fields where you can actually quickly fill in, and sometimes you'll get values in the drop down. Once you do this, you'll be able to get your cognitive. So I've created one particular resource called NLP demo. This is a cognitive resource. So once I click on the resource, there will be something called keys and endpoint. So I'll have to click on keys and endpoint, and I'll be able to get my keys and the endpoint URL. So these are very important for me because I'll have to give these values in my feed. So I'll just repeat it again, whatever I said. You will have to go to portal.azure.com and you'll have to create a new cognitive service, and the fields which for the cognitive service will be your name and subscription, location, pricing tier. Location and pricing tier will be a drop down value, and you'll have to create a new resource group. And once you create this and you navigate to your created cognitive resource, you will be able to see everything about all the important details about it under the overview tab. You can also click on keys and endpoint. The keys and endpoint is will have keys values and the endpoint URL. And these two values are very important for you to get started with. And if you go to my GitHub URL, you will be able to find something called text analytics notebook. And for this notebook, I'm going to use review 1, review 2, review 3, review 4. These 4 files are my data. So the review 1.txt is going to contain a sample review for a restaurant in London. And review 2, review 3, and review 4 are the 4 reviews, and 2 of them are positive and 2 of them are negative. And this is my data, and the notebook is text analytics notebook. This notebook, you can open it and follow along. So I told you the first step is to create your cognitive service. And then for me, I'm using the GitHub URL here. So I have all my reviews under data folder. Inside my data folder, under text, under reviews folder, I have all my reviews. And I'll have to go this particular piece of code. What it does is it goes to data, text reviews, and reads all these four reviews and stores in a list object. So this is what this piece of code does. And then it prints the reviews. So I have four reviews with me right now. And then my first job is to then I'm going to create two variables, cognitive key and cognitive endpoint. So remember, I created this NLP demo cognitive resource. So I'll have my key and endpoint. You need this for running any cognitive service. You'll have to create a cognitive resources, because you will get these two values, key and endpoint, from the resource. This is very important for executing any cognitive resource, your key and endpoint. So I'm creating two variables, cognitive key and cognitive endpoint. And for this text analytics service, I have a Python SDK. So I'm importing this package, my Azure.cognitive services called text analytics, from which I'm importing text analytics client. And from MS Authentication, I'm importing this cognitive services credentials. So once I import these packages, I'm creating, calling this text analytics client constructor, and I'm passing my endpoint, and I'm also passing my cognitive key, which I just created for the resource. I'm passing these two as parameters, and I'm creating a text analytics client. So once you create this text analytics clients, for everything which you wanted to do, we wanted to detect the language. So the method is detect underscore language, and you pass this review list which you created, which contains all these four reviews. You just pass this parameter, it will detect the language for you. And so in the first use case, I'm just calling this text analytics client object which I created, and calling the method detect language, passing the review list of reviews as the parameter. And it is the output, I'm storing it in language analysis. And and I'm iterating through every review, and I'm just printing out the parameters. I'm printing out what language it is, and the code of the language, and the score of prediction. So these all I'm printing for every review. So the next thing which I'm going to do is extracting key phrases. So from the text analytics client object, the method which I need to call is key underscore phrases, passing these reviews as the input, and then iterating through all the four reviews, and then printing the important key phrases. So for review two, it is like old hotel, royal hotel, tired hotel, London. These are the important key phrases. So this I'm doing it for all the four reviews. So the function which I need to use is key underscore phrases. And next uses is, you want to find the sentiment of the review, whether it is a positive sentiment or a negative sentiment. So the method which I'm going to use is sentiment, and I'm going to pass the list of reviews as the parameter, and I'm iterating through every review, and then I'm printing out. So the review 2 and the review 4 are negative. So you can go to the GitHub repository, check out, read the review, the content of the review. Review 1 and review 3 are positive. So let's go to review 1 and see what the review 1 contains. So it's under text reviews, you'll have review 1. So the review 1 is clean rooms, good service, great location, and all that. So it's a positive review. So it has given me the correct output. Review 1 is positive. Positive with what probability it is positive? It is 99% positive. So you get all the sentiment score as well. And extracting known entities. Known entities is, you have a piece of text and you want to extract important entities like location, date, time, and all this. Then you can do it. There are several entities available in this demo. I have extracted only two entities, which is the date, time, and the location. So to do that, the method is entities method, and you again, the parameter is going to the list object which you created in the beginning, which contained all the four reviews, is the parameter. And I'm iterating through every review, and I'm printing out the important entities. So the location is London, United Kingdom. These are the location entities which are present in review 2. And so these are the four applications, four things which you can get done using text analytics. You can also go to text analytics documentation. You can check out text analytics service documentation, and you can learn more about the service. You can go to text analytics under documentation, and you can get started. There are small videos available for you to describe what the API does and all that. So if you want to use different language other than Python, then that's also possible. You have C Sharp, Node.js, Go, Ruby, and all that. So you can go and explore the further capabilities of text analytics API. You can just go to the documentation and explore this service further. So there's limited time left, and I'll have to cover three more services, so I'll be hurrying up a bit. So this is about the text analytics API. The next one is going to be translation. So translation, it's like translating from one language to the other. So from English to French, or French to English, or English to Chinese. So that's what we're going to translate a piece of text from one language to another. So we're going to see the demo. So for this translation also, you need the you have to go and create a cognitive service resource. We have already created cognitive service resource. You'll have to go to portal.azure.com, create a give all these values, and you'll have to create a cognitive service. The reason why we do it is we require the key and the endpoint. And so again, create your key endpoint. Here, what we'll be doing is we also require region, because this particular service requires region as well. So from your endpoint, you can actually extract your region. And I'm going to take this cognitive key. I'm going to use the same cognitive endpoint. So from your endpoint, you can actually extract the region. I'll show you how. I think session has been disposed. So if you see, this is your endpoint. So endpoint, the region is nothing but East US is your region. So you can extract it by just slicing it from the eighth character till you find the first dot. You can do a slicing and you can extract the region from your cognitive endpoint. We would require the translation service would also require the region. So I require all these three values: cognitive key, endpoint, and the region. Right. So the first thing is about translating text. So for this particular use case, you don't have, for this particular service there is no Python SDK. You'll have to use a REST interface for submitting your request and getting the response, and your request and response will be exchanged in the form of a JSON format, and you can use this request library from Python for accomplishing it. And so for translating text, you don't have the Python SDK, but there's another use case like speech translation, for which you have the Python SDK. Only translating text doesn't have a Python SDK. So I'm just writing a method, and the parameters which I'm taking is cognitive region, key, and the text, and the language, from which language to language, and from language you're just passing it. And so the path of the service, REST service path, and the parameters from language to language, you combine, append these two to construct the URL. And then you construct the headers and you construct the body. So there is no Python SDK for translating text service. So you'll have to you have to construct in the messages, you have to use the REST interface, and the information, you will be passed, request and response will be exchanged in the form of a JSON format. So you'll have to construct the headers, and you'll have to construct the body. So you give your cognitive key, cognitive region, and content type, and then construct your body, which is the text parameter, which is the third parameter you are receiving for this method. That is your body. And there are five parameters. One is the region, key, text, and from language to language. And you construct the headers, you're constructing the URL, which is nothing but the cognitive service, and the params is from which language to which language. So you're using these two to construct your URL. And then the headers, you're constructing it, and the body. And you're just giving your extra, from your response will also be in the form of JSON, and from that you're extracting the translated text and returning it. So this is what this method does. And so the text which I wanted to translate is hello. So I'm just calling this method, which I just wrote, translate underscore text, and I'm passing all the five parameters, which is my region, key, text to translate is hello, and I want to translate it to French. So I'm giving the language code, which is standard language code, which is FR, and my hello is in English. So from language is going to be EN. So I'm passing all these five parameters, and I'm going to it is going to return me the translated response in Translam, which I'm storing in translation. So I'm just printing out. So hello is translated to Bojo, which is the French word for hello. So this is one thing which is translating text. There's another service called speech translation. So there's no Python SDK for translating text. So you'll have to use the REST interface, and the request and response will be exchanged in the form of a JSON format. But that's not a problem for speech translation. You have a Python SDK here, and let's see how things are done here. So for translating into a speech, so again, I'll have to pass these parameters the same as the previous thing, cognitive region key, but I'll have to give an audio file as the input, and from language to language. So I have this Python services, like, I'll have to, from azure.cognitive service.speech package, I'll have to import speech config, audio config, result reason, and speech.translation package. I'm just importing speech translation config and translation recognizer. So I'm importing all the needed packages. And so translation config is, first I'm creating a speech translation service. And then so for setting up a translation service, I'm calling this constructor speech translation config. I'm giving my cognitive key and region as the input. And so I'm also setting what is my from language and to language. I'll have to give all my cognitive key, region, from language to language, create my speech translation service. And then I'll have to create configure my audio output. So which is done using audio config service. And the audio can be in the form of microphone, which you can speak, or you can also give a pass the some recorded audio file as the input as well. So configure your speech translation service, then configure your audio config service. Once these two is done, then just have to call this translation and recognizer constructor, and then I'll have to pass my translation config and audio config, which I just configured now, and then I'll be getting the output, which I'll be storing it in the recognizer. So once this is done, then I have my output ready. You can just test it. So there's something called English wave file. If you go to the GitHub repository, there'll be under data, and under data, you have to go to translation, and you have two files, English and French. So you can just give this English file as the input, and you can just call this method, pass all your parameters, and you will be translating it to the two language which I wanted to is Spanish. So it will translate hello is the English text, and it will be converted to a Spanish text. So you can do that again for French, and you can convert a French audio to an English audio. So this is about the translation service, which we saw a couple of service. One is translating text, and the speech translation. We saw a couple of thing under translation service. There's a couple more which I want to discuss. Okay. Language understanding. So in speech service, you have a couple of things. One is a speech recognition, the other is a speech synthesis. And so speech recognition, I'm not sure if I'll be able to cover the language understanding part. So I'll just so for the speech service, again, you'll have to create your cognitive resource, give all these fields, and have your cognitive key and cognitive endpoint ready. And then you can extract your region from your cognitive key. So from this is my cognitive endpoint. From this, I'll just extract my cognitive region, which is this East US, and which is the 8 character till I encounter the first dot. So you can extract your region. These three parameters I would require. So the input here is light on wave. So I'm just playing my audio, which is I'm going to give the input to this service. I'm not sure if you'll be able to
turn the light on.
So this audio is saying turn the light on. So this is my input. So I'm going to give this as this is my input to my speech recognition service. So this has a Python SDK for me. So I'll just have to import, I have to go to Azure Cognitive Services .speech package, and I have to import speech config, speech recognizer, and audio config. This is something which we saw in the previous service as well, speech config and audio config. And audio config, I'm giving an audio file which is which says turn the light on. This is my audio file, and which I'm giving it as an input. And the speech config, I'm just configuring cognitive key and cognitive region as input. So I have my speech config and audio config parameters set, and then I'm calling this API, which is speech recognizer, giving this as the parameter. And I'm just running this.
Turn the light on. Turn the light on.
So turn the light on was the audio. It converted it into a text, turn the light on. So I give an audio which says turn the light on, and that audio is converted into a text. This is what speech recognition service does. What a speech synthesis service does is you give a piece of, you give a written text, like you give turn the light on, and then you want it to convert it into an audio. So this is the opposite thing, speech synthesis. So the same thing, speech config and audio config files, I pass the necessary parameters and create the speech config and audio config files. I have my speech synthesizer, which I'm just passing these parameters, and my input is turning the light on. So I'm giving this as piece of text, and I want an audio which says turning the light on. So I'm going to run this.
Turning the light on.
So I gave my input turning the light on, and when I play this video, it says
Turning the
turning the
light
light on. I can just test it by just changing this turning the light off, and you can just test it and see if it's just saying turning the light off.
Turning the light off.
Okay.
Turning the light off.
So you might have noticed in the picture itself when it said turning the light on, it was showing an yellow color picture, and for turning the light off, it's showing some dull violet color picture. So speech synthesis is about giving the piece of text and converting it into audio. So we saw a couple of under speech, we saw a couple of things. One is speech recognition, and the other is speech synthesis. And speech recognition is I give a audio file, and I wanted the speech, the text of the audio file. That was speech recognition. And then speech synthesis, I give a text, and I wanted the audio version of it. So these are two use cases which we see under text, with speech, and the last one is about language understanding. So there's not much of time to go through. I'll just quickly cover this in 5 minutes. So this itself can be taken for 20, 30 minutes, the entire API, but I'm just quickly going through it in 5 minutes. Lewis, this is about how you configure a language understanding bot, Lewis. So you go to Azure, portal.azure.com. So you can either get this done using a cognitive service which you use for the other three use case, or you can go and create a special language understanding service. You can just click on create a service and search for language understanding. So you'll be able to get, either you can use normal cognitive service. Only when you're publishing, you require a language understanding service. Otherwise, still that process, if you're not interested in publishing and all that, then you can just use the normal cognitive service only. So click on this language understanding service and create a language understanding service. So it will ask for the values. You'll have to give the values name, subscription, which can be a free trial, or you had as your sponsorship. Give whatever subscription or pay as you go, whatever subscription you're under. Create a unique name and give some unique name and create a resource group, which location and which tire and all that. Runtime location, these are just fields which are self explanatory. So you can just give these fields and create a language understanding service. Only if you're going to publish it, you would require that. Otherwise, you can use the normal cognitive service which you created. If you're not going to publish your app, you just want to explore this thing, then you can use the normal cognitive service. So to create a Lewis app, I'll have to go to preview.lewis.ai, and then it will ask you can use a trial key up to 3 months, and you can create you can go ahead with it. Initially, when you log in for the first time, I've already logged in, so it may not ask those details for me. But when you log in for the first time, it will ask you to enter either the cognitive resource which you created right now, all those details. It will ask you for few details, or if you don't want to enter all those details, you have another option left. You can use your trial key, which will be valid for 3 months. Only after 3 months, you'll have to start paying. So you can use that trial key version and go ahead and create an app. The first time you log in, you'll have to fill in those details. Since I've already logged in, so I don't have to fill in all those details. So I'll have to go to preview.lewis.app. So go to that URL, and then you can create new app for conversation. So to create new app, just click on create new app for conversation, and then give a unique name, and then it's English, and give some description. So now I'm going to create a home automation app. So create a description, home automation tab, and this is a prediction resource. So you can either use your cognitive service. NLP demo was my cognitive resource which I created, or I created a language understanding resource as well, which is Lulu Demos CCD, which was something which I created using language understanding cognitive resource. So either you can give any of these. and then you can create a new app. Once you fill in all these details, you can create a new app. So that is your first process, is to create a new Luis app. The first step is go to preview.luis.ai. The first time you log into the website, it'll ask for more details. You'll have to fill in those details. And you can also use the trial key, which is valid up to 3 months. And then click on create new app option. And then you'll be asked to fill in the name, the culture, which is English, the description, and the prediction resource. So prediction resources, you can give the cognitive resource which you created for the other three use case itself. And then you'll have to there are two more steps which is to be done. You have to create an entity, and you'll have to create an intent. And once you create an entity intent, you can click on train. There's a if you go to the dashboard, you'll have an option to train. Click on train, and then you can start testing your model. And if you're interested in publishing the model, we'll come back to it now. First, I'll show you how to create an entity and how to create an intent. So entity is nothing but you have an object. This is the home automation app which I'm creating. So you have your house. You want to automate your fridge. You want to control your fridge. You want to control your fan. You want to control the lights. You want to control your AC and all of it. All of these things you want to control using a single entity. So you can create a single entity for controlling. This is a home in the context of home automation. These are the devices which you want to control. These are the entities which you want to control. So I'm just creating a single entity called device, and I'm going to control all the devices in my home. I'll show you how to do that. And then for intent, so I would have created several. So first, I'll show you how to create this entities. So I'm clicking on home automation. Click on your app, and then you'll have an option to create entities, and you'll have an option to create intent. So under entities, just go to entities, create plus create. Then I would have created a device entity. So I'm just for this device entity, there are what kind of entity it is. There are several types of entities. This is a list entity. So I'm just giving the sublist. For now, I'm just creating two sublists. One is light and one is fan. And I'm just giving the synonym of it. Light is nothing but lamp, and fan is the AC and all that. I'm just giving the synonym. You can add more synonyms here. And you can, for light, you can add more synonyms here. So this is how I create entity of list type. Then I can go and create an intent. So for intent, for both my entities, I can have one intent which is switch on. So under switch on, I'm just adding my utterances. So if I turn the light on, so I'll go to this light on, and I'll just configure what device I should connect this light to. So device is light. So when I say turn the fan on, I click on this fan, and then I go and configure device this fan. So under entities, I'm just configuring under this for each switch on intent. I'm just going and configuring the utterances. So this is for switch on. And there's another intent which I have, which is like switch off. So for this particular intent, I'm just going and configuring two things: turn the fan off and turn the light off. So under the word light, I can go and configure my device. Device, I'll go and connect it to light. And under fan, I'll go and connect it to the fan device. So this is how I create my intent and entities. Intent is nothing but what action you want to take. So when you say turn the light on, you'll have to go and turn off the light, and turn on the light. And when you say turn the light off, you'll have to go and turn off the light. That's it. So you'll have to create two things, which is intent and which is entities. So once you do that, that's it. It's just once you create your first thing is you'll have to create your entity, which is the device. So it's a home automation thing. So I for all the devices in my home, I need to create one entity. And then intent is what action you want to take. So you'll have to configure your intent and entities. Once you do that, there will be an option called train. Click on train and train your model. Once you finish, it will just take 2 minutes to train your model, and then you can go and test it. Click on that option test, and then I'll just type turn the light on. And this is my occurrence, turn the light on, and I should get switch on. So I'll
Sorry to
just,
interrupt you, Usha. I think we are
yeah, this
bit
is
out
done.
of time. Yeah.
Yeah, this is done. So I can go and test my app using the test on option, and then I can go and click on publish. And so once I publish it under manage tab, you will have all these entities, app ID, and all these entities. You just have to go and fill in your, there'll be if you want to publish it, this is the piece of code which you need to use. Under manage tab, you will find all the values for all these features. You'll have to enter those features and you'll be able to publish your lab. So this is about the language understanding app, which is the Louis app. You can just create it. So we have seen four services. Quickly summarizing, we have seen translation service. We have started with text analytics service, and then we saw all the use cases under it. Then translation and speech, and finally language understanding, where we
Usha,
created.
you are not audible.
So am I audible now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done. So it's overtime by 10 minutes. Yeah, I'm done.
No problem. Uh, like, thanks a lot, Usha, for the session. I see a lot of people encouraging your session, and they really liked it. You started from the scratch, and uh, even anybody could understand what you're trying to mention and what your presentation was about. So also going forward, we'll be sharing your speaker deck and the learning resources in the post event mailer, and also we have updated it on the learning resource page. So maybe Usha, you can uh, jump into the comment box offline and answer if there is any question.
Yeah. You can reach out to me offline. You can ask me questions. Reach out to me in Twitter. My Twitter link is there. If you just put Usha Rangarajan on LinkedIn, you can also reach out to me through LinkedIn. And go to my GitHub repository. You'll find all the resources which we discussed in the class today. And have a nice time ahead. Thank you. I thank Confab and the entire Confab team, Ganesh, Rohit, Hari, and Sushrit and Akshay and all the entire Confab team for giving me an opportunity to speak. And I'm wishing all the best for this conference to all my co-speakers as well. Thank you so much. Until we meet next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Usha.
Yeah.